I used to have a 1993 CRF300L, and I discovered I could only go about 85 miles before I had to hit reserve. Those old bikes had a reserve. When you ran the tank down, it would run out of gas, and you flipped the reserve, and then you had like a half a gallon or so left before it ran out again. Then you're done. So I don't like running out of gas. So I wouldn't even go 85 miles. I'd go about 70 miles and start looking for a gas station. That means I couldn't go on a long ride because I'd like to go up to like 120 miles sometimes. I don't want to stop at gas stations. I was stopping at gas stations twice on a ride. So I got this oversized tank for that bike, this big 3.2 gallon. Then I could go 155 miles before I hit reserve. But then I realized, after getting this bike, I was riding around with all that fuel I never used. And that big tank made it handle bad, and I always had it full. Well, I was afraid when I got this bike that I'd have the same dilemma, that I'd have to get an oversized tank. But the way this bike is, it gets such good mileage. I can get, 60 to 70 miles per gallon. I probably average on my rides around 66 miles a gallon, even with a lot of off-road. And the beauty is there's 4 different ways to keep track of your fuel. You've got the fuel gauge, you've got your odometer. That's the only way I kept track on my old bike. And then you have this, how many gallons used, which is my favorite feature of all. It's a 2.1 gallon tank, and I've only used 0.3. So I can run this bike down and use all the fuel, and I can go on my 120 mile ride, no problem. I tried to run this bike out of gas one day. I brought some extra fuel with me in my backpack, which I really didn't like doing, but I didn't have anywhere else to put it. So I take it on a ride, and I'm riding, and I'm riding, and I'm riding, and I got to 137 miles, and I couldn't ride anymore, so I just went home. So I never did run it out. So I know I can do my 120 mile rides, no problem.